Hello! In this section, we'll be talking about AI-generated content in academia. Specifically, we'll be talking about how we can use generative AI in an ethical way, and we'll have an analysis activity about an AI writing ethics challenge. And then finally, we'll be talking about some examples about how you can, some strategies you can use, and how you can develop them so you can develop your skills that go beyond AI. Finally, we'll have variative assignments to minimize AI overuse and prevent plagiarism. So, common ways to use AI tools in academic settings is to generate ideas to help you overcome a writer's block. It's very useful if you want to summarize your notes or identify key points. It's also very useful, I think, personally, to simplify complex academic concepts. So if you have, for example, an article which has a lot of academic terminology that you do not really understand and you want it to be a bit more simplified, you can use generative AI in that sense to help you simplify the concepts being talked about. You can ask for analogies. It's very useful in that sense. And also, for your own texts that you produce, it can help you have better sentence structures, identify grammar or vocabulary issues as well. However, it needs to be used in an ethical way. So, first and foremost, verifying AI-generated content with academic sources is always very essential. Of course, nowadays, it gives you sources in terms of links, but you should always double check the contents and see if ChatGPT or like generative AI is presenting the contents as they were in the original source. You should also be aware of biases in AI generated output since it's trained on a certain type of data. It might have certain biases which can change from topic to topic. Another issue is to, of course, depending on your institutional guidelines as well, but as a general rule of thumb, you should avoid sharing personal or sensitive information with AI tools because unless you opt out or unless you know that the tool is not training on your data, what will happen or where the instances that have happened is that people's information was leaked to other users because they uploaded their own sensitive information, and then other users were able to kind of jailbreak this information out of the AI tool. So you should never upload sensitive information regarding yourself or anyone else for that matter. Another issue is that AI text, depending on the reasons why you would be using it, it should always be kind of revised, and you should always make sure that it aligns with your own goals, that it represents yourself and it aligns with your own goals, and doing revisions if necessary, which is the case most of the time. And then finally, recording AI tools, prompts, and outputs is good practice, and especially if it's required by your institution, is good practice to have. To be able to go back and say, oh, I prompted this chatbot in this way, and it gave me this kind of result, etc. Especially if you want to keep records. So we have an AI writing ethics challenge here. The objective is to be able to make ethical decision on AI use in writing. So first, there are 3 scenarios presented. I want you to read the 3 scenarios, which are common situations where AI is used in writing. And then I want you to choose whether each action is ethical, unethical, or if it depends on the context. And then I want you to be able to justify your choice as well. Then, so if you said for scenario 1, where the student brainstorms ideas with the generative AI and writes an essay independently, and if you answered ethical for that, then you were correct, because you're using it to stimulate your own thought. You're not using it to copy paste answers, and this is the right way or the ethical way to use generative AI. And for scenario 2, where you're just directly copy pasting from generative AI, and if you said that it was unethical, then you are correct, because it is not conducive to learning to just copy paste from generative AI, and it does not help you understand the concept, and especially if it's not expected by your instructors or by the place where you're submitting your piece of text, it is not ethical. An AI edited personal essay, so if you are refining grammar, structure, how the sentences sound, like a writing assistant, then that is ethical use. However, if you are making up things and you're to be able to show them as your own, then that is unethical use. So I hope this makes it a bit clear, the differences between the different ways you can use generative AI. So now I want to talk about some essential skills that help you go beyond AI, and how would we actually go about developing them. So, for example, critical thinking and problem solving are very important skills to have, because it is essential to be able to analyze the output AI gives. And some development strategies for this would be, for example, practice decision-making exercises, or engaging in logic-based games and puzzles, or learning to be able to question AI outputs. So asking questions like, oh, is this actually correct? What about other perspectives? Is there bias in this? What can I do to improve this? Does it represent what I want to do? So being able to ask questions, I think, is very important. And then there's creativity and innovation. So AI, it's very good at generating ideas or just content in general, but it lacks this creativity and innovation, which we should be taking, or which we will have or are in charge for. Strategy or skill. You can engage in art, design, and storytelling. You could engage in brainstorming sessions, exploring cross-disciplinary thinking. So basically thinking, how can I combine different ideas? How can I generate something, or generate as a human being something new? So these would help you develop these skills. And then emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills. So AI in its essence lacks true empathy, leadership, and deep social skills. So being a good listener, a good communicator, being good at conflict resolution, these are skills that you still need and will always need as a human being. And further on, having ethical judgment and digital responsibility. So as a human being, you are responsible for your own judgments, for the things that you do. And what AI does, of course, it can be biased, it can be unethical, it can make mistakes, and always requires human oversights. So these are skills that need to be developed through learning about ethics, digital rights, responsible technology use. And later on, we have adaptability and lifelong learning. So AI evolves rapidly. If you may have noticed, when ChatGPT first came out, its abilities were quite limited compared to what it can do today. So being able to flexibly upskill and have a growth mindset will help you catch on with these trends and these being able to keep updated with what's going on. And finally, technical literacy and AI mastery. You should understand AI, how it works, how you can best take advantage of it. And computational thinking, and coding and algorithmic thinking are essential skills to have to be able to take most effect of AI. And then over here, I like to talk about learning content, so more learning specific content that can be used in the age of AI. So inquiry-based learning tasks encourage deep thinking. Some example assignments would be Socratic questioning essays, real-world problem scenarios, debating and argumentation papers. These are very hard for AI to just provide something that is copy-pastable. So this is a good learning task. Another one is project-based learning. So this could include stuff like personalized research projects or creating like a digital portfolio, DIY experiments. So these are things that you have to produce and are not like just text-based and also require a line of thinking. It requires a process. And what AI is making us do is to focus more on the process rather than the output, because it can create the output, but we want to be able to work on the process, learn through the process as well. And then, of course, performance-based assessments, so like live presentations or artistic creative expressions or role-playing simulations. Well, you cannot have AI. Well, you could technically if you wanted, but you could have these in person, or you could have some certain requirements, and these would not make it so that AI does everything. And for more examples, reflective and personal writing, so stuff like learning journals or learning diaries, personal growth plans, or letters to the future. These are excellent activities. And then hands-on collaborative or social learning. So these are quite good as well. So having projects where students work together. And finally, problem-based and case study learning. So you have a case study, which these are all, of course, similar to like problem-based or inquiry-based learning. But yeah, so these working basically on a kind of bigger project where there's a process and the output cannot just be replicated by AI. These are excellent examples of learning activities or learning content that can be utilized today. And then, as a conclusion, AI is a very powerful assistant, but as human beings, we bring about the creativity, the critical thinking, and the lived experiences that AI cannot replicate. So by designing these variative, process-driven, and interactive assignments, we ensure that the students develop real-world problem-solving skills, which is very much essential today. We ensure that we enhance originality and personal voice in the work, because as human beings, we like to take shortcuts. So if something can be done by AI, then we'll have AI do it for us. But if it's a more bigger project and there's a learning process, then people will prefer to use their own voice or their own effort. And then using AI as a support tool rather than a shortcut for learning. That is always essential as well.